I'm Kim Singletary.
And I'm Rich Collins with Biz New Orleans Magazine.
Welcome to Biz Talks. Each week, we reach beyond the pages of Biz New Orleans Magazine to bring you in-depth conversations with members of the business community.
From the names everyone knows to the ones destined to make their mark, we'll dive into the top issues, best practices, successes, and failures of every industry that calls Southeast Louisiana home.
Hi, this is Kim Singletary, Managing Editor of Biz New Orleans, and thanks for joining us for this extra special little podcast. We are in preparation for opening up next week, a lot of the businesses, and before we do that, we wanted to have on a guest that would help us with some tips. So Amy Bakay is owner of HR NOLA. And she is here to help us out with three main things that you need to consider before you open up. Thanks for joining us, Amy.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to chat with you guys about returning to work.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are on people's minds as they start back up again, but from an HR perspective and a legal perspective and all of that, there's some things that you need to have done. And what would be one of the first things?
Well, definitely. I think that, what we're looking at is an overall framework to help companies return their employees to work, which is our number one focus at HR NOLA. And you look at those kind of things in three areas, and the first one being really looking at a response team and who you're going to designate as being responsible for ensuring that your employees and your customers can return to your place of business in a safe manner. So establishing that response team is the very first thing we advise everyone to do, regardless of business size. We all want to focus on our people, and that's our employees and our customers. And when we consider who should be on that response team, it might depend on what size of company that you have, but you're really looking at maybe a site manager, your leadership team. You definitely want to have your HR support person or your legal advisor involved in that as well, because you don't want to have any compliance risk associated with it. But having that team to oversee what you're going to do both pre, during, and post the COVID-19 pandemic is really, really important.
Okay, great. And obviously having communication is really critical in that team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't do any of that without making sure that someone on that team is taking the lead for the communications. And someone has to inform your employees if they're returning to work and what their work status is. And we advise of really establishing a really good communication process protocol. And it might be similar to the one that you used when you closed the office, and really following it again to reopen if you have that opportunity. But you really need to identify what the business expectations are going to be. You really have to state the terms of their employment and even their compensation if that's changed. And you need to include all the steps that you're going to take as the business owner to ensure that the employees are going to be safe when they do return.
Right. Okay. And then you need to look at your facility as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, whether you're owning or renting a space, the responsibility to ensure that your workspace is safe, that's really on the business owner and the leadership team. So you have to work with experts who are going to reassure you that the cleaning and the sanitizing has been done and will continue to be done. You really need to, what a lot of us in the HR world refer to as sick building syndrome. So you need to get that off your list of concerns. Work with your landlord if you work in a shared office space, identifying, if you have open floor plans, where we went through this, workplace shift over the last few years where everyone was working very closely together in this open concept, and that's probably not the best environment now for our employees. So following OSHA and CDC guidelines, they have a lot of resources out there that can assist you in actually preparing your facility for your employees to come back in the building.
So that might involve a redesign from the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think so. We don't really know exactly what the future of the workforce and the workplace is going to look like, but one thing is for sure, that the physical space of it and the mental space of it is definitely going to change. It already has.
Okay. And then kind of the third thing we're looking at was having the right policies in place.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of things should they be thinking of?
Well, I wouldn't be in HR. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up policy, right? We love that documentation, but that's certainly for the employer's benefit. Establishing a prevention plan has all types of components in that, and a large part of that is compliance, understanding the employment laws related to returning to work, whether that's FMLA, the new extended FMLA and emergency paid leave that's been going on, OSHA, Department of Labor. There's a lot of laws and regulations that employees have to consider every step of the way when they're making decisions. So having good policies on social distancing, ensuring confidentiality. So if you have, if you establish an employee screening policy, who's going to run that policy for you and lead that? There's a lot of confidentiality involved in that. And so you want to make sure the right people on that response team are overseeing the protocols, ensuring that you have the tools and resources in place, and don't go it alone. You really have to work with a professional, either in HR or legal, to ensure that you have a solid prevention plan, you have the right policies in place. Checklists are really essential these days, to kind of use that essential word. And I would dare say critical. So if you're going to establish a policy for self-screening or even hand washing, ensure that you follow it as well. That's the other thing. Establishing the policy is important, but having someone ensure that that's actually being adhered to, that's going to protect your employees, but that's also going to protect your business down the road as well. And I'd also say under that prevention plan, there's an area of preparing people also for the psychology of returning to work. And we really have to consider people's mental preparedness right now, in addition to the facility. And under this prevention plan, I would say making sure that your employees are mentally prepared to return to work. Some of them might be really excited about being back in the office, and some of them might have children at home with no support. So, everyone's dealing with the pandemic in different ways, and those challenges and anxiety that are related to whether or not you have a pre-existing condition, or whether or not you don't feel that your workplace is secure and safe. Definitely someone has to oversee that part of the plan and make sure that your employees feel comfortable coming back and you're staying compliant.
Well, and that's not only, just the right thing to do, but the the companies that don't do what they're supposed to be doing, it's becoming, I think we had talked about earlier, a lot easier to report companies.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. When there's so many online portals out there for you to report a business who isn't following the local state protocol, but there's a lot of avenues out there as well for your employees to report you as a business owner not following that protocol as well. And you want your top talent to come back to work. You really do. And so by doing right by this, you establish yourself, and you're looking out for the culture of your company and your employees' well-being. And they're not going to want to report you. They're going to want to work with you, and you want them to return, so that we can get ready for, what we call our next normal.
Right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I know that HR NOLA has some stuff on their website to help make this a little easier too. And you guys are obviously available to help out. And yeah, so we appreciate it. It's hrnola.com.
Yes, it is. And, I'll just close with, every company has to take on their own responsibility. And, everyone needs to define what's best for their culture and their business goals. But there are so many resources out there to help. So don't go it alone. Don't put yourself and your business at risk. Just get some support today. And yeah, we're here to help wherever we can.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I know you guys are super busy right now helping out businesses. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.